I'm frequently asked, why is a car company building a supercomputer for training? And this question fundamentally misunderstands the nature of Tesla. At its heart, Tesla is a hardcore technology company. All across the company, people are working hard in science and engineering to advance the fundamental understanding and methods that we have available to build cars, energy solutions, robots, and anything else that we can do to improve the human condition around the world.
Welcome to Electrified. It's your host, Dylan Loomis. So first up today, just want to show you something with Tesla stock. So if you look from around 2016 to basically 2019, Tesla stock was moving sideways. Then in 2020, it turned profitable, totally changed the story, and then it went on this incredible run. I think too many people slipped into the mindset of thinking runs like this are going to happen fairly regularly, when in reality that's just not how this is going to work. And you can see from about January of 2021 over to today, we've basically just been moving sideways for over a year now. So this is really building a base. It's kind of like Tesla stock coiling and building up a bunch of power for eventually in the future to then take off to the next level. Now, I don't know if that's going to be 1 year or 5 years. Nobody really knows. The point being, these are good times to be accumulating. And again, Tesla stock could absolutely go lower from here, but most of you know that for me, I just pop on the 200-day moving average, which is this red line. Anytime Tesla stock is below that level, I feel very good about buying Tesla stock. Right now, it's actually about 20% below the 200-day moving average. So yes, this is the time that I personally like to buy. Why is that? Well, over the last 6 years that you're looking at on this chart, the lowest Tesla has ever been relative to its 200-day moving average has been about negative 42%. Then for the next basically 2 years, we didn't really have any opportunities to buy below the 200-day moving average. Sure, maybe some around here, but I just consider that basically being at it rather than significantly below. So the point is, over the next year or two, we might have another few opportunities like this where we stick below the 200-day moving average given everything going on in the world. So I'm not saying blow all of your cash right now, but it's good to have cash reserves if you're in a position like that to take advantage of opportunities like this. Earlier in May this year, we had another great opportunity. It was down about 32% from the 200-day moving average. And right now, while it may feel like the world is falling, we're still only about 20% down from the 200-day. So definitely a good opportunity, but not like historic or anything like that. And again, just to give you a frame of reference, back in 2019, Tesla stock spent almost 1 year below the 200-day moving average. So we can definitely stay here and move sideways for an extended period of time. So for me, zoom out, ignore the noise, keep things simple, find these pockets of opportunity that we don't get all the time and take advantage of them if you can. Again, build cash reserves so you have the opportunity to capitalize on times like this that we may have again for the next year or two. And to everybody out there who played a part in making this number happen this week, enjoy the ride. Moving on, Tesla has updated the design studio to actually remove the ultrasonic sensors, so it definitely looks pretty clean and minimal, which I like. And Drive Tesla Canada got its hands on a picture of a Model Y in the real world without the ultrasonic sensors, so it definitely looks pretty clean. Now, say what you will about the features, and yes, it's unfortunate. It'd be nice if Tesla did this once all of the features were already working with the occupancy network, but Tesla's gonna do what it thinks is best. And it'll be nice definitely to save some money, but I'm more excited for the production process being sped up, not having to deal with the little holes and the wiring and everything that goes into the process of having these ultrasonics. I do think Tesla will deliver with its vision-only approach. There may just be some hiccups along the way, and we'll have to be patient. A quick note on the Hyundai Ioniq 6 set to make it to the US market next year. It's achieved a coefficient of drag of 0.21, which is actually better than the Model 3, which comes in at 0.23. This car is set to come with a 77 kilowatt hour pack that's supposed to get a WLTP range of 381 miles. So if you divide that by 1.12, that should give us an estimate for the EPA range, which would be around 340 miles. This car is set to make its North American debut at the Los Angeles Auto Show in November, but it's still set to be manufactured in South Korea, aka not eligible for the EV tax credits as it stands now. Next up, we have Reuters talking about how most EVs weigh more than their ICE counterparts, so when it comes to transportation of these vehicles, it's causing some ripple effects in the industry. Over the last 4 decades, cars and trucks have climbed from an average weight of 3,200 pounds to 4,200 pounds. The chairman of one of the largest car haulers in North America said the truth is we'll not be able to move as many EVs under the current weight limit. That could mean more trucks on the road, delays in orders, and increased costs. Basically, we have the American Trucking Associations asking lawmakers to increase the weight limit from 80,000 pounds up 10% to 88,000, saying the current weight limit is unsustainable given these trends. Especially when you consider things like the Ford F-150 Lightning is about 1,600 pounds heavier than the ICE F-150 counterpart. On the other side, we have some safety experts arguing that these heavier vehicles are harder to stop, they're easier to roll, and result in more wear and tear on roads and bridges. I think you can make good arguments for both sides, but the way I see it, as long as the bridges are set up to withstand this extra weight, then I would lean that way to increase the weight limit to alleviate some of these logistical challenges that we're already seeing at a lot of the ports. If you can load up a limited number of trucks with more cars, that's just more alleviation. All right, so I've said a few times over the past few weeks that one of the biggest storylines in the auto space is what's going on in China. The EV competition is really heating up in a way we haven't seen before, and it seems clear that these Chinese brands have major ambition to start flooding the European and maybe eventually the North American market as well. And I really think this means better features and more innovation from Tesla, which as a consumer, we should love. And shout out to Recoil42 on Reddit for a good post about this recently as well. Now, we've known Chinese EV makers have had a major battery advantage from raw material to refining to cathodes. The question has been, can they produce quality, attractive EVs at reasonable price points? To date, a lot of the market in China has focused on the smaller cars like the Wuling Mini, but some of the other startups have been focusing on the other end of the market, targeting the Model S and X range like the Li 1, the Neo ES8, and the Neo ET7. About 1 year ago, this was a rough list of legit Model 3 or Y competitors. A pretty small list if you ask me. Then, over the last 12 months, these cars have been added to that list by starting production. So clearly some growth in what we could reasonably call direct competition for the Model 3 and Y. And now this list includes vehicles that have launched in just the last 3 months alone. So yeah, I think you get the picture. The competition is coming in hot and heavy in the Chinese market, targeting the Model 3 and Y. I think for a long time, people have thought all of this competition would be at best just knockoffs or copycats of Tesla. But as far as I can tell from reviews, forums, blogs, and the like, many of these cars are for real. They're using the latest battery packs from giants like CATL and its Keelan battery, the BYD's E-Platform 3.0, and so on. So yes, this means better ranges and charging curves. Some of you know I'm a sucker for a nice interior, and many of these new vehicles are making leaps here as well with excellent infotainment systems. One to point out is Huawei's Harmony OS. I mean, I think you can tell by this quick clip that this 15-inch screen and snappy reactions make this seriously legit and perhaps for some even superior to Tesla's OS. It's intuitive, adjustable, and has nice visible text. Even further, things like interior and exterior LED lights, key cards, phone entry, glass roofs, stitched seating, features you would expect in a premium car segment. Let's look at this one for example, Li Auto's 6-seater Li L9. This car starts around $65,000 US, pretty close to a Model Y. It comes with ADAS features using NVIDIA's Orin chips, 11 HD cameras, and LiDAR, but Li has said LiDAR is only for backup if the cameras can't see in heavy rain, snow, or fog. It also has air suspension, wireless charging pads, a HUD display, voice commands, OTA updates, folding tray tables in the back, extendable leg rests, cooled and heated seats, and massaging seats in the front and back, panoramic glass roof with a closing shade, and listen to this, a fridge in the center console that can also heat things as well. And yes, a hands-free tailgate to boot. So yeah, I think this example will serve well for the point I'm trying to make. This level of ferocity and ambition from the Chinese EV market is real, and it's here. So you'd be right at this point to ask about profitability because yeah, anybody can make a killer car unprofitably, right? I mean, that's easy. We have to keep in mind some of these companies like SAIC and GAC are state-owned and built for long-term success with basically unlimited pockets. Zeekr is owned by Geely, the same company that owns Volvo, Polestar, and Lotus, which also means some deep pockets. And yes, BYD isn't yet profitable without subsidies, but the volumes are massive and they seem to have a bright future based on the current trajectory. Now, before anyone out there gets anxious about Tesla, Tesla's still a market leader in many respects and has a brand cachet that most of the competition can't yet match. But how much should we value that is really anyone's guess. But generally speaking, the internet will tell us that Chinese consumers value brand appeal very highly and Tesla has it. But it's undeniable right now that Tesla is facing its stiffest EV competition in China, and it's going to force Tesla to keep innovating, driving costs down, and adding new features to keep the attention on its brand. Now, what's fun for us is usually Tesla China gets new features first, and then they're rolled out to the rest of the world. So it may take some time, but we all stand to benefit from these Chinese EV makers pushing Tesla. It'll most likely mean lower prices at some point, like we talked about yesterday, and this is actually a great thing for consumers, and as I said, Elon wants to lower prices. And even after looking into the Chinese EV market more and more over the past few months, I still have no concerns whatsoever about Tesla. They have the talent to adjust when needed and to continue growing. And don't forget this, I think this is so important. The Chinese market sells over 20 million cars every year. So this market is ridiculously big and there's plenty of demand for multiple automakers to do incredibly well. I personally love competition, and as someone who wants EVs and the consumer to win, I love what I'm seeing. So I don't know if or when these Chinese brands will make a play for the United States market, but I know the legacy auto pie in Europe is in trouble. These EVs out of China are for real, and it's time to pay attention. Again, Tesla is going to keep dominating, and there's just a wild amount of market share to be grabbed globally. And I really do think this will keep Tesla on its toes and eventually play a role in bringing all of us new and better Tesla features that hopefully cost less so more people can experience one. All right. Moving on, a quick note from Joey at Teslarati. He said Tesla can now move forward with its Ecological Paradise project whenever, as of now. The city of Austin has approved the project just 8 days after Tesla filed it. I don't think we'll see any development of this until Giga Austin is humming from a production standpoint and on its feet financially. Next up, we have some unfortunate news for Rivian. This is another hurdle that they're going to have to overcome, but the $1.5 billion in subsidies it was set to receive for its upcoming factory in Georgia that's supposed to cost about $5 billion, well, the subsidies are now in question. The Superior Court's Chief Judge Brenda Trammell ruled that the state failed to prove that the factory is sound, reasonable, and feasible as required under state law. She also agreed with some local residents who opposed the plan that Rivian's factory should not be exempt from local property taxes. The communications director for Georgia's economic development said as the entire country is looking to revitalize and grow domestic manufacturing, protect American jobs, and secure the country's economic independence, we're disappointed and respectfully disagree with Judge Trammell's decision. We're currently assessing all legal options. Here we have Elon hyping up the .3 FSD beta update per the usual, and he added, we're keeping .69 just because, haha. Last up, we talked about this a few months ago, but it looks like EVs are set to become eligible for renewable fuel credits sometime soon. The EPA is sending this proposal to the White House for approval by the end of next week. If this goes through, Tesla could benefit and gain access to a new type of credit known in the industry as e-RINs or electric RINs. And reportedly, the Biden administration has leaned on Tesla meeting with the company to help craft the e-RIN program. So if this goes through, and once we get some more detail, we'll dive into how this may work and what it could mean for Tesla. But for now, hope you all have a wonderful day. Please like the video if you did, and a huge thank you to all of my Patreon supporters.